spend some time checking in with ourselves. How we're feeling now, how it is now. And sitting meditation, so using our bodies. Can do this standing, quite similar actually. Because fundamentally both these positions give you the sense of a firm ground beneath you, upright body, space around you. Quite simple, really. Almost too simple for our minds. But just keep coming back to it, and that's the few things that help to bring that body to the fore. And why? Well, first of all, why? It's because in this body you can handle, come to terms with, release certain emotions and moods that you can't do with your thinking mind. Let's check the camera, I think it needs to be re-angled. Yeah. Good. Good. As you probably recognise, your thinking mind is often taking you very much away from direct clearing of thoughts and content, and tends to add to them, more to it, more comment. So I want to kind of get away from that, or get beneath that. The aim of sitting, standing meditation using your body is that you can sense mental states, heart states, moods, very much in terms of how they affect your body. And also you can use your body to release them, bypass thinking to a great degree. This is why. And how is to be very deliberate and take time to linger. Clearly in a second we know we're sitting, but can you feel the sitting completely from the ground beneath you? The way that you don't have to do anything, it's just there. You can get some sense of rest and stability by drawing your awareness down to the ground. Sit in a way by you're sitting on the bones at the base of your pelvis rather than the flesh of the bottom. So you're sitting on your bones. It's nice and firm. And once you get that posture, just that little bit of muscle flex to get you into that posture, tilting your pelvis slightly forward, maybe, drawing your spine upright. Once you get it, you can release a lot of muscle. And that means with that you release a lot of tension and twitchiness. And make a point of being quite deliberate. You're sitting on a chair, trying to rest on the bones, cushions, whatever. And then angling your upper body, so that the spine climbs out of that basis, rather like a tree growing up. Certainly not a straight line. It's alive. Work from the base of the spine on up, so that, again, a little bit of angling of your muscles so that that big bony mass of your chest sits on the spine rather than on the belly. Sits on the abdomen, on the belly, it's going to constrict your breathing. You won't get enough energy. Sitting on the spine. Many people just feel there's a slight curve in the lower back. Bringing the arms just a little away from the side of the body, so you can drop your shoulders down your back. Let's practice imagining that, dropping your shoulder blades down your back, like you're shrugging off a coat. All this helps your chest to open up. You get a nice, easeful breathing. Chest filling easily with breathing, the air. Most of us have our heads tend to tilt forward because we're looking at things most of the day, we're turning our head forward. So be very conscious of the way your head, skull, not the face, forget the face. Let's focus on the whole skull, ball of the skull. And if you can prop it on top of the neck bones, draw the whole thing just back a little, so you can feel again the weight of that skull is being carried down through the spine into the ground. And keep relaxing your face. This then is your frame. May need adjusting occasionally, tends to slip out. like the frame of a picture. Within that you experience warmth, experience this rhythmic process of breathing. Probably experience quite a number of things. Maybe first, before we go into that, just contemplate the sense of space around your body. This means essentially that there's no pressure. You don't feel being looked at or intruded upon. You're quite private, safe. And plenty of space in all sense of the word, psychological space, physical space. Quite private and yet open. Bring your awareness to this aspect, experience the absence of pressure. It's a lovely sense actually, because most of the time we have some kind of pressure. Time pressure, obligation, social pressure. Need to be something, need to stop being something. Just pick up the sense of no pressure. Don't have to get anything right. No fear. Bring that message into your face, which is the most visible and sensitive area of your body. Forehead, eyes, cheeks. And feel how you experience those areas. It might be possible by sensing that area, your face, extending your awareness back over the rest of your head. So your energy isn't all running forward into your face, or balanced. And connected to your throat. The head is just like a large ball, porous, you could breathe through the eyes, the temples, the forehead, taking the pressure off. Might be sometimes easier to keep your eyes open or half open. Perhaps helps one to feel a little more open, less cerebral. But finding what works for you. To have these groundedness, spaciousness, releasing pressure. And within all that, how is breathing? How is that? You let your breathing out, sinking all the way down, with no restriction. And letting the breath come in its own time. Move up through the body, opening the body up into the head. In fact, you might find restrictions. But just focus on where the overall rhythmic feeling. Don't tangle with places where you feel a bit tight or breath is uneven. Just get the general sense of something given, happens by itself. Alive. develop it, let's give more attention again to the frame and the reference to the content, the breathing content, that's major content, and the frame. And what I recommend is giving more attention to the back of the head, entire back surface of the body. It's obvious that most of us is front. This is where our sense organs are, where we lead with. We're much more sensitive at the front, so we tend to lose the back. But to breathe with the whole body, you're aware of your back, so you get the entirety, not just the front. The entirety. This will be very beneficial in shifting energy, subtle energy. Because the back is tremendously it's firm, supportive. It's also not impacted the way the front of your body is, where all the shock and the jangle and the emotional impact hits. You know that? Yeah. How you close your chest, how your face contracts, how your belly tightens up when there's a bit of shock or impact or heart haste. It's all front, isn't it? You don't get it in your back. Back generally huddles, crouches over it. And so we want to give more attention to the back. Use the back as a cool, supportive medium. You might notice that although we can imagine our breath goes up and down, it's actually much more spherical. It's an expanding ball in the abdomen, expanding ball in the chest. There's a slight pressure in the back as you breathe in. And relaxing as you breathe out. It's very global. And then we're going to check in with some content. felt feeling, broadly speaking. Most precisely, feeling refers to the degree of pleasurable, agreeable, comfortable, or the opposite, not so comfortable, not really agreeable, something I'd like to have pass, go away. But actually, generally, the English word feeling also refers to the mood. So you ask, how is it now? What do we think? Just the general felt tone, sitting. You may think it's mental, emotional, psychological. Could be feeling a bit tired. Nervy, anxious. Maybe nothing much, but if you ask the question, are you feeling really comfortable and happy, contented and easeful now, you'd probably say, not quite, or definitely not. What's happening? How is it in your body? Turgid? Jittery? Low energy? Or the opposite? A lot of stuff swirling around? Or perhaps kind of quite numb? Difficult to feel anything at all. Well, you're feeling that. You're feeling that you're not feeling very much. Doesn't feel bright. So, you don't really have to understand this, or just keep gently touching that quality, how it is now. And perhaps particularly when we get something that seems pretty much stuck. We all hear this idea of things are changing and arising and passing, or something's not passing. Or this one keeps coming back. I seem to have this a lot. This feeling of pointlessness, or carrying weight, or can't make it, or not enough time, pressure. Concerned. But it's getting really simple, just the sense of, simple as possible. Heavy or unsettled, stressed. Just simple name, label. how's that playing out in terms of your body? Might I suggest that you check how your face is? Is it restful? And your hands, are they relaxed? How about your shoulders? How is that? A sense of space, absence of pressure, absence of obligation, is that there for you or not? Notice wherever you do feel a sense of simple groundedness, spaciousness, wherever you sense that, you're checking in with that. And widen your awareness to include aspects, parts, areas that don't feel that. So you work from the places that do feel settled and comfortable, as if you're slowly stretching your attention from a good place to cover everything. And breathing. Of course, it should never be forgotten that the attitude of overall goodwill. This means we're not making enemies out of difficult feelings. They're just things that need to be given some goodwill, not to be abolished, fought with, pressurized. They're not enemies. They are occasions, opportunities to increase one's compassion. Or you can tune in to how things are being felt and sensed. It does take energy, but it's not passive. It's not just sitting there, but increasing one's receptivity, which means you make the energy to stay open, whole body tuned in. You can move around a little bit. So be aware of subtle pressures we create around posture, achieving things, and it's about doing, being the doer who makes things happen and gets results, the more we can actually acknowledge that system that we operate with in our lives. And now, this doing doesn't actually solve this deep feeling. It sits on top of it. Often we do things to get away from ourselves. Reflex. Or try and fix ourselves. Or what's it like to acknowledge those behaviours as they just know. Receive things more fully. Spread your awareness around. Cultivate good heart. Attend with sympathy. Connect. Ground. Spaciousness. A simple rhythm. So let's mediate away, lifting your attention from this particular frame to there's that. Feel free to shift your position, ease your body, open your eyes. I'll just add some remarks if you give you a minute or two just to get some space, but these meditation practices are kind of a cleansing. So just as we wash our bodies, clean our teeth, wash our clothes and so forth quite regularly. This is something that you should do regularly, once or twice a day definitely. This stuff builds up. the perspective in Dhamma is that we don't really exist as separate entities. The body itself is very porous, it's breathing in, breathing out, it's affected by air, temperature, heat, day, night. All these affect the nervous system. And emotionally, psychologically, we're profoundly impacted by our environment, both present, sensory environment, media, things happening around us we see, read about. Also our psychological environment, how we feel welcome, overworked, ignored, lesser compared with others. Well, it's kind of these profound psychological environments that can stay there, wherever you go. And these particularly get stuck and become lifetime messages and lifetime profiles that become so embedded we assume this is me, because it seems to be pretty much there all the time, or repeated and intimate. It's not about whether I'm in Glasgow or Paris, it's summer or winter. It's pretty much wherever I go, there it is. So it must be me. This is a sort of stuck psychological environment. We may think, well, something wrong with me to be this way, but that's not the case necessarily. It just means there's a lot of good amount of stuff that hasn't been able to be cleared. We will experience apprehension, I'm sure, fear is getting wrong. We'll experience concern, worry. We'll experience sadness, maybe irritated, annoyed, feel confused. I'm sure this is pretty standard. There's also a profound message that you shouldn't feel like this. You feel competent, useful, effective, bright, humorous, so forth. And frankly, we don't. Or we can put that on top. You can create a kind of personality that sits on top of all this, chattering away and coming out with lines and busy doing this, that and the other. Until, the music stops. You sit down, there you are. Meditation drops you into this. You think, well, I can't meditate. That's not quite true. It just means because there is no such thing as meditation. Really, there's just different territories. And we call it meditation, but it's really it's a time when we begin to unplug from our actions and doingness and tune in. And often this takes you into areas of your environment, your psychological, emotional environment, that need to be cleared. It's not through doing something. Well, it is, in a way, it's a refined doing, but it's not from the normal person, the agent of the doing who, does a job, does the cooking, fixes the garden, does things with other people. It's not that one. It's somewhere else. Something we don't realise we have. It's sensitivity, receptivity, and connectedness. connectedness. It means you're not just drifting off somewhere. You're not. So you see those senses when uncomfortable experiences happen. We often jump off into another topic, or fall asleep, as somebody's doing. It's not things aren't stimulating enough, so we get kind of crash out. Things are boring. Fantasize about something else. Things are a bit tedious, so I start planning and working things out. I don't feel very welcome or happy, so I conjure up some notions of what I should be or could be. What I don't do is connect to that uncomfortable experience. I disconnect from it. Because I can't manage it. I don't want to experience that. I can't manage it. So, so how do you manage it? Well, your body manages it. I don't mean your knees and feet, I mean it's the energy system, your nervous system in your body, that can manage it. Because that's where all that stress goes. That's where all that stress goes. That's where the bits get disconnected. So we're not complete. We don't feel very grounded. We feel restless, unsettled, because we're not completely here. Or that nervous energy system is not settled here. And that's our fundamental opening process, to settle here. And find a settling here that's not about making something happen, being good enough, finding the right place, everybody else being okay with it, not bothering anyone. No, really settling here because it is here. It's a given. You are here. Now, whether you deserve to be here is just completely pointless, because you are here. You don't have to be good to be here. You could be nasty and you're still here. You may not think this is, so what? But once you begin to connect to that, some of the pressure goes off to, make something happen. It's settling. Okay. And spaciousness, opening up. Because lots of difficult experiences make us close down. We don't want to feel things. Or we want to feel something other than what we're feeling. We want to feel buoyant and floaty and happy and bouncy, but I'm not. Okay? So we get very particular about what we feel, take it very personally. Actually, feeling is just this. Sometimes it's not very agreeable. And that's not your fault. I mean, pressure is not agreeable. And we're often under pressure. We're often under pressure to get things done, or to remember something, or to achieve something, or to be liked by people, or to make sure we don't get things wrong, criticised. So there's pressure. And that is not pleasant. It's nobody's fault, it just is not agreeable. So this is one example of disagreeable feeling. Worry, things we concern ourselves with, about the future, about other places, about what will become of us, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen when I'm 95, if I get to be 95, what's going to my body, what's going to my house, what's going to my partner. That's natural, isn't it? That's natural enough, but if you just kind of don't deal with it, then it sticks. And you have to do divertive strategies to get away from that discomfort. The strange, bold, courageous thing in Dhamma practice is to actually meet it and find a way you can meet it. Life is tough. Can you meet it? And if you think of things, her and them and the world and da-da-da-da-da, you can't. It's just overwhelming. But if you can contact what's happening in terms of your nervous system, your body, you can meet it. You can meet it at that level. You can clear that place. You can clear it out. This is to be cultivated. And it can be done. It's not that esoteric. It's fairly sophisticated because you do need to build up the connections and your head connected to your body rather than drifting off. Your back there rather than disappearing, so you fold up. You just kind of zoning, folding up into some hunch position. So it's all lined up. This acts like a clean, open channel, where things can be felt and they will flush through. Now, if that channel is blocked or constricted or twisted, it doesn't flow through. So our practice is just maintaining this template and feeling a sense of pressure, stress. But rather than topics and ideas and memories and images, just feeling it directly here. And the space around that. Because once you've decided to meet that, then that intention, that quality of intention, that's not under pressure. That's a clear willingness. So you don't want to make this into another set of obligations, something you've got to do every day. It is definitely quite refined in terms of also dealing with your psychologies of, but all this is tremendously beneficial because when you're starting to take the weight off your life, you'll feel it. You feel happy, you feel light-hearted, you won't take yourself seriously. And yet, you care for yourself and the space. And the effect of that, tremendously liberating. Because, we say, yes, there is disappointment. Okay, there is a feeling of inadequacy. I can't do what I wish I could do. But it doesn't bother me. It doesn't oppress me. I don't make a person out of it. And that open, steady awareness. What's that? So there's big gains to be made. But not through fixing things or doing things, but by tuning in, connecting. Ground, whole body. Undo thinking mind and its strategies. Cultivate, tune up, goodwill, give it time. In fact, no time boundary at all. And in that dissolution of these psychological structures that we take for granted, there's a release. This is to be cultivated, this can be cultivated, and this is to be encouraged. So offer this for your consideration.